Every winter, the same impossible thing happened on Ravenstone Lake. Just before sunrise, when the ice was silent and the whole valley slept, a perfect ring appeared in the snow. 12 meters wide, flawless, untouched by wind or animals. Locals called it the snow mark. Scientists tried explaining it. Elders refused to talk about it. Teenagers dared each other to step inside it. Only one person ever did. And they paid a price the town still whispers about. If you enjoy mysterious cultural legends brought to life through storytelling, don't forget to subscribe. New tales every week. Ravenstone Lake sits deep in northern Ontario, surrounded by silent pines and long-forgotten logging trails. Winters there aren't just cold, they're crushing. Snow stacks against cabins like white cliffs. Ice covers the lake thick enough to hold trucks. At night, the cold has a voice, a sharp, glassy one that whistles through the branches. Most people who live in Ravenstone work in forestry or ice fishing. Most mind their own business. And most do everything they can to stay away from the lake at dawn. Because that's when the snow mark forms. It began long before the town existed, long before maps were drawn. Elders from Cree and Ojibwe communities had stories, unrecorded, but passed down quietly, about a circle the earth made when it needed to speak. Not a warning. Not a blessing. Something in between. No one fully understood it. Except maybe one man. His name was Jonas Hale. Jonas was a winter guide, one of the best. He could read snow like other men read newspapers. He could predict storm shifts by the way the lake breathed. He walked without tracks when he wanted to. He listened to silence more carefully than most listened to words. He lived alone in a log cabin on the east ridge above Ravenstone Lake. People said he liked the quiet. People also said the quiet liked him back. But there was one thing he never joked about. The snow mark. He saw it every year. He noted its size. He watched its timing. But he never stepped inside it. Not until the winter everything changed. The winter this story takes place was unusual. The lake froze 2 weeks earlier than normal. Snow fell in thick, heavy blankets that muffled even the wolves. Temperatures dropped so fast that tree trunks cracked with loud pops in the night. Locals called it the third snow winter, the kind that came only once every few decades and always brought something strange with it. And on the first morning of January, Jonas woke before sunrise with a feeling he had never felt before. The lake was calling him. Not with sound, with pressure. Like breath against the back of his neck. Like a weight settling on his spine. Jonas dressed quickly, grabbed his lantern, and stepped into the biting dark. He reached the lake just as the sky turned the faintest blue. And there it was. The snow mark. But something was wrong. It was larger, nearly 15 meters across. The snow inside looked smoother than glass. No animal tracks. No human tracks. Just a perfect, untouched circle drawn by something that understood symmetry too well. Jonas crouched at the edge. His breath fogged. His eyelashes frosted. He whispered, almost instinctively, "Why did you grow?" He didn't expect an answer, but the wind shifted, not blowing through the trees, but around the circle, as though avoiding it. And then he heard it, a soft tapping, coming from under the ice. Top, 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 slow, rhythmic, patient. Jonas stood so fast his boot slipped. He steadied himself, heart pounding. Something was beneath the lake. What Jonas saw next is the reason Ravenstone still fears the circle. It's also why the snow mark hasn't appeared since. And if you're enjoying this legend so far, make sure to subscribe. This channel grows only because of you. Now, let's continue. The tapping stopped. Then the snow inside the circle began to shift. Not blowing, not falling, but lifting, as if something underneath the ice was pushing upward gently, testing the surface. Then it stopped. The lake went silent again. Jonas felt the hair rise on the back of his neck. He should have walked away. He knew that. But he also knew something deeper. Traditions survive because someone answers them. He stepped 1 foot inside the snow mark. The moment his boot touched the snow, the world changed. Everything became silent. Not winter silence, total silence. A silence that ate sound. The wind froze. The air thickened. And the trees at the edge of the lake blurred, as though seen through water. Jonas reached for his lantern. But the flame had gone out. Then he noticed the circle's interior wasn't snow anymore. It was frost. Thin, crystalline, and alive with pale blue light. He crouched. Touched it with 2 fingers. The frost pulsed. And a whisper rose from the ice. "Not this year." Jonas jerked back, stumbling. The whisper came again, clearer. "Not again." The frost shifted, forming shapes. Handprints. Sweeping trails. As if something had once moved beneath it. And then Jonas saw it. A shadow, human-shaped, face down beneath the ice. A person. A person frozen into the lake. No, not frozen. Imprinted. Like a memory trapped in ice. Jonas whispered, "Who are you?" The whisper answered, "The last one who entered." Jonas's mouth went dry. Someone had walked into the snowmark before him. Someone who never came out. The frost flickered again, forming lines like ancient writing. The whisper grew stronger. The land remembers. The circle holds the past. Do not awaken what sleeps. Jonas swallowed hard. He stepped closer. Why show me this? Silence. Then, because the lake chose you. Jonas stared downward. The shape beneath the ice shifted. Slowly, painfully. Lifting an arm. Then a hand. Pressing against the underside of the frozen surface. The ice didn't crack. The snow didn't move. But the shadow touched Jonas's shadow, fingertip to fingertip. A silent plea. Jonas whispered, "What do you want?" The whisper, "Remember us." The frost pulsed one final time. Then everything collapsed. The frost plates cracked outward across the circle like spiderwebs. Jonas fell back, scrambling away. The cracks spread to the edges of the circle, stopped abruptly, then retreated inward, sealing themselves as though rewinding time. Within seconds, the snowmark was perfect again. Pristine. Untouched. Jonas's chest heaved. His hand shook. And the shadow beneath the ice was gone. Completely gone. Erased. Jonas didn't speak for 2 days. People saw him coming back from the lake pale and hollow-eyed. Kids whispered he saw a ghost. Adults assumed he slipped on the ice and hit his head. Jonas didn't correct them. But he knew the truth. The snowmark wasn't a warning. It was a memory. A grave. A message. A seal. Something old was asleep beneath Ravenstone Lake. Something that should stay asleep. The snowmark appeared 12 more times that winter. Each time Jonas observed it. Took notes. Made sketches. But he never stepped inside again. Each circle was smaller. Fainter. Weaker. Until the final morning of March. When the snowmark didn't appear at all. Jonas waited the next day. And the next. Spring came. And then, every winter after, the snowmark failed to return. The tradition ended on its own. Or because Jonas had listened. Jonas lived another 20 years. He never spoke publicly of what he saw. But he did one thing. He taught his granddaughter Ellie the old winter signs. How to read snow pressure. How to hear ice tension. How to feel the lake breathe. When she asked him why, he always said, "So you'll know when silence isn't just silence." When Jonas passed, Ellie found his notebook. Inside were 12 sketches of the snowmark. And one sentence. If it returns, don't enter. To this day, Ravenstone Lake remains quiet in winter. Too quiet. Locals avoid the shoreline at dawn. Visitors take photos from a distance. Scientists still can't explain the circles. But Ellie walks there sometimes. Not close. Just far enough to watch the ice. And every so often, when the morning is cold enough, she swears she hears tapping beneath the lake. Top. 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 Not threatening. Not calling. Just reminding. If you enjoyed this story and want more legends that blend mystery, emotion, and forgotten traditions, subscribe now. Next time we are traveling to the Australian coast, where an ancient tide ritual was said to predict disaster long before storms appeared. And trust me, that one is even darker.